Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tube, or welcome back. If this is your third Nancy Drew Season 3 episode review, I think we're on episode 3. Oh no, we're on episode 4. Yeah, we're on episode 4. It's crazy, like, it's only been a month since Nancy Drew came back. Well, 4 weeks, technically speaking, because this month went by so fast. It really did. I mean, Halloween is basically... Well, today, this is going on Halloween, but I'm recording this on the actual day of airing on the 29th. Crazy, but tomorrow it'll be November. And then basically, for me in my life, November means, okay, we're basically... The year's done. We are on the final stretch line for the year, and we're basically done. So that's kind of the case, what's going to happen there. So... but this week on Nancy Drew, this continued last episode's theme of like, this was kind of, we are progressing the characters, but we're really doing kind of like a side story that expands on the mythology of the universe, but also we're slowly advancing the main plot. So it's kind of the same. I mean, technically, the way I say it's like, I'm saying it the fancy way of like how a regular TV show is. I don't know, it's like, I don't know, like, I think I'm finally starting to accept, like, this is just a kind of a roadmap for most shows, I guess, because, well, most shows I review, they tend to do things a little bit differently than the others, so that's why, for me, it's kind of, like, a little bit useful, plus every time I go to a new season, my brain resets. I'm kind of like Ash Ketchum when it comes to new TV seasons I review. I basically mostly forget everything about the last season until I suddenly remember, oh yeah, that's right, that happened before. I really can't control it, to be honest with you. It happens, so nothing really much I could say there. But either way, this was still another enjoyable episode. More banter between our characters, more expanding more on the relationships that we've established already with our core cast. Continuing to delve a little bit deeper into, of course, whatever this ice heart killer is basically trying to do, what the game plan is. Setting up new dynamics for certain characters, and giving us a major tease, which I'm like, Nancy's really horrible at the love triangle thing. She's really horrible. Or just having multiple love interests. Like, she's basically like, I was going to say, I should stop that, because apparently I remember that person I was about to mention that has never been mentioned before in my channel's history. So I'm like, I should not do that, because also that's private. So I'll shut up there. But no, honestly, this was just another enjoyable episode of Nancy Drew. Nothing too special to write home about, but it was still like another good episode to keep the consistency going for the season. So let's go through the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Nancy Drew. So we begin. Nancy is kind of in this phase, like a fog, so to speak, at the police station. She just came home from the detective con from last week. Well, yesterday for them, last week. Again, one of the unique things about Nancy Drew, instead of doing like the traditional, every episode technically takes place a week afterwards, unless they say otherwise. It's nice that, like, no, it's mostly the next day. It's literally all the events of season 1, season 2, and now season 3 have taken place in like a 4-month period, which is crazy. Because if that much craziness happened in my life in 4 months, I would definitely say, once this is over, I'm leaving, I'm going away, I will come back in 3 years, but leave me the fuck alone, because I need to get away from y'all. So she's there. She doesn't entirely think it's all said and done yet, this case. Of course, she said that last week, is that the sentence of like, this is all part of something bigger. She still thinks there is more to be done and more to be said. She wants to talk to the hotshot investigator, but he's still up in Portland handling all the paperwork for the case. So he's AWOL this week. And also the way Nancy said that was like kind of indicating that she has a thing for him already. It's like the second time she's been interested in someone in law enforcement. I mean, I think she has a type, as well as a type for like very standout guys, I guess. I know Ace and that other dude, which again, I'm still convinced that the twins from last season are just not going to come back. I don't know why. It's so weird, because like, I can't even be COVID anymore, since like they came out when COVID was a thing. So it's not even like, oh, COVID prevented them from coming back. No, that's just what the case is being with this matter. She heads outside, and then that douchebag deli owner the mini diner owner. He's lodging a complaint on, of course, once again the youth center, because of the whole. Deep down, it's probably a color thing, and also, but however, he's just writing it off like, oh, they're loitering on my property, they're affecting my business, they're parking their bikes in front of my stand. People don't like to see that. There needs to be a change right now. Nancy, of course, being the community advocate, speaks to him, calms him down, and says, I know Nick. I will talk to him. There will be changes right away because Nick is a caring guy. He will try to accustom to you, and he does say thank you, which I'm like, okay, that's good. He does have a little bit of a temper. He could have been the male Karen and literally just kept going, which it would have been interesting for this show to tackle on, but I'm like, we got way too many elements right now to like even start thinking about a male Karen on the show. To be honest with you. Also, today is the first day of the community center, day one. Very weak turnout. Only a couple kids showed up, which kind of discourages Nick a little bit, but at the end of the day, like, this is a brand new thing in a small town that has never had this, so don't be surprised that happened, to be honest with you. He is a little bit like bummed out because, like, I mean, it's basically everything with like a new owner or like a new YouTuber or just someone who starts something new and the turnout doesn't seem to be the way they want. Trust me, you work at it, you keep promoting, you keep doing the things, you will get people to come, so don't worry. Nick should not be discouraged. George is there for some moral support. Ace shows up to deliver some nice freshly baked kosher cookies, which honestly I've never had before. I'm still curious to try it, but I prefer making them from scratch because I don't trust them store brand shit. I really don't. And I used to work at a store for like many years, so I'm like, believe me, I know. I believe who comes in? Yeah, Nancy comes in. Oh yeah, no. Before we get to that, a little bit more additional context. The two dads format of Nancy and her two dads is continuing. And it seems like Mr. Drew has finally taken Nancy's advice to kind of, started to dip his toes a little bit in the world of dating. But however, he doesn't want to make it public yet that he's trying, or maybe he is with someone. He doesn't want to make it official. But he is acting a little bit more like he is trying to be more presentable. Ryan, of course, is very well aware of this from the get-go. But Mr. Drew is like on the two opposite spectrums for Ryan right now. He wants Ryan to do more chores and be more responsible around the house, as well as he does want him to get the fuck out since he has a working lunch date, well, a working lunch or a lunch date or whatever you want to call it. So Ryan does get kicked out, and he's decides to head over to the community center to check in on some stuff. Nancy heads in around the same time as Ryan. Ryan's there for morally just to be there and also to check in on Nancy, but mostly he gets sidetracked by helping out the kids. And Nancy's there to, I believe she's there to formally ask him about some stuff about the case. I don't entirely remember. I know George and Ace split off a bit later because they have to head. Someone has to open the store. I mean, I'm very thankful they mentioned these lines like, oh, someone's got to open the restaurant, and I'm just like, okay, thank God you're opening. It would be nice if you stayed for a whole shift. I don't know why I care about this. It's like a fictional restaurant and a fictional show that has nothing to do with my sort of economic finance. Also, just to point out, their version of Facebook or something like that, George gets a friend request from her dad, her biological dad, which honestly we've never heard about on the show. I just initially thought that he died or something. No, apparently he's a deadbeat dad, never showed up in his kid's life, still hasn't. It's not clear whether or not George is the... If he's the biological father for the rest of the fan kids, I'm not sure. They never made that clear. All we know is it's George's dad. His middle name is also George, so that's why they have that sort of connection. But apparently the only reason he's reaching out is because sadly his sister, when we found out last week that she started a freaking fan-based parody on George as Nancy Drew, as that type of character, they also announced that George is getting married. And apparently George's dad found that on there, and he wants to be friends to hopefully be part of the ceremony, which George doesn't want since, he hasn't been in her life in 18 years, which does make sense. A wedding is supposed to be for the people who have been there for your entire step of the way. I know, tradition is like your mom and dad have to be there, but like that's not always the case. Stuff happens in life. You really can't control it. I know Nancy's there for something. I'm pretty sure she touches base on, she does touch base about the complaints with the diner owner has about him, and she also tags in on something else, but I'm blanking on it right now. I know Carson is having a lunch date with the DA that Nancy is working with as well. I swear to God, this actress is so familiar to me. It's like I have seen her somewhere before. I didn't look her up on IMDb yet because I've been doing other editing stuff because I did the Doom Patrol review before, so I was getting that edited and ready to go for yesterday. It's up already. I don't remember where she's from. I don't know if she's from another CW show or just another show I watch. This is the thing. I watch way too many shows, so it's like I recognize the face. I just don't remember the character's name or where they came from. Like, I'm pretty sure once I figure it out, like, I was like, oh, you. And then the memories will start rolling back. But right now, I literally don't have a freaking sense of the world. I don't. So they're having a working lunch date. They're still working on Carson's case with the twins' dad, which Ace is inadvertently helping out as a result. He gained some security footage that is sadly blurred out, so sadly that's not usable. So Mr. Drew has to find some creative ways around the issue to get them figured out. I don't entirely remember the order here. I believe Nancy has another sleepwalking episode when she's walking into the diner, probably to tell the owner that, hey, I already doubled your problem. There's gonna be some solutions happening pretty soon. She thinks the demonic entity that is like in her sleepwalking visions is right in front of her, but she throws a freaking glass bottle or she throws a beverage at it. It turns out to be the owner. So now she's like, huh, I'm screwed. There's absolutely no way I can explain something supernatural to these people who are probably just very grounded in reality. So she manages to find a believable excuse and, gets out of it. I want to say, where else do we go over here? I know Bess is doing some background work, and I don't know when she mentions. I know she is mentioning that she wants to be a woman in white, the witchcraft group that was evolved many years ago in Horseshoe Bay's history back in the flashbacks we saw in season 2. She wants to be that since she does have a lineage to it from the Marvins. What am I forgetting here? Because there's some. I know Nick is struggling to handle the youth center. It's not growing as successful as he wants to. The kids have basically painted up the entire bathroom, and he has to now freaking clean it all up on his first day. This seems like something like you would be doing a little bit into your first year, not the first day. So he's trying to find some creative outlooks to trying to get them to not vandalize property and such of sort. But it's a very slow process for him. I want to say, do we get? I don't know if everyone starts getting to a sleepwalking. Yeah, this is the thing with this episode. I say it's really good, but now I'm starting to really blank hard on how did we get to certain scenes? I'm missing a good amount of the first chunk of the episode. I'm really so I apologize. So please make sure to watch the episode beforehand, because the next time I do remember seeing something. I know Nancy does touch base with the rest of the Drew crew that this is becoming a problem, and a couple more people are reporting sleepwalking incidences. Eventually, every one of the Drew crew members started having one of some sort. Prominently, we get the freaking tease of the episode where they don't kiss, but Ace, is beginning to intimate with Nancy in bed. He's beginning to. It's hot. It's steamy. We're getting there. But then the reality of this is being a freaking nightmare, and Ace is starting to get a frozen heart. And that sort of kind of wakes up Nancy fuck, this is a nightmare. This ain't real at all. Which I'm like, damn it. And also, I mean, kudos to the figurative nightmare Ace for having the balls to hey, I like this girl in secret. I'm gonna go to her house and maybe hope to God she'll sleep with me. Because most of the times that if you try to do that, you'll get slapped in the face, you'll get pepper sprayed, and probably the police will be called on you. Literally, the success rate is very low on it. You might as well try the naked man by that point. You'll probably have a better success rate than that. For everyone else, I know George is having a nightmare that at her wedding, her dad shows up and basically destroys the image of George prominently. Nick is having a nightmare about the community center being trapped inside. Ace is witnessing himself killing someone, whether that is just another person or the twins' dad is unclear. And Bess getting rejected by the witches of White, or the White Witches. I forget the name of it already. So yeah, it's probably that this is becoming a major issue. They do some research and it turns out this has been always happening. Well, they say what has happened recently to kind of cause this effect, because of course obviously hauntings have to come from somewhere. And again, remember the freaking Pandora's box of, I don't know if you heard that. I apologize for that. The Pandora's box of endless creatures and monsters and ghouls. You want Unleashed in season 2? We couldn't delve back into like literally. I'm still a little bit aggravated. Like you set up this like massive, you know, pool of like we can just like suddenly pop in whatever we want and just say like, oh, the Historic Society had it for, you know, centuries. Now they're free. But nope, never brought up again. I mean, we got one time in a couple of episodes after that, but that was it. So I'm like, you could have easily just said like, oh, they just came out of nowhere, but no. So they tied it back into the carnival from episode 1. It seemed like this happened a few days after the carnival was supposed to happen. So it turns out when they do some digging and the carnival's been happening for almost 200 years in Horseshoe Bay, it turns out this happened the same year as a lot of sleepwalking instances occurred. So they assume whatever they were doing at this carnival, which we never get to see in person because I'm pretty sure COVID still fucks over doing these very big extravagant scenes. This basically kind of prohibited the ritual from happening. So that I guess this they call him the Sandman. No relation to the freaking Audible Netflix and the upcoming Netflix show. No relation. They assume like, okay, so the carnival did something to push it away, but now that the carnival never happened, I guess it's like, okay, I'm back. It's time to open season again. Which is like, okay, cool. Like that's okay. That makes sense to an extent. But again, you know, I would have really liked it like to go back to that pool that they opened. Would have been fun, but they didn't. So from there they realize they have to find some sort of way to defeat it. So they decide, okay, let's just stay up as long as we can in order to. Now, oh yeah, I forgot. So when they were originally in those nightmare scenes, they were literally like their bodies were subconsciously trying to kill themselves. Like Nancy was putting igniter fluid on herself. Nick and George were about to electrocute themselves in the tub, which I'm like, Jesus, this freaking spirit really wants to kill people while they're sleeping. Like, damn, that's kind of horrific. So they decided to go to the youth center again, which makes sense. You have this whole new set build out. You want to start using it since I'm pretty sure that's all they were able to get this season. And that overuse the claw like always. So they handcuffs themselves to the table. And because Bess thinks she's all magician and stuff like that, she doesn't handcuff herself. Which actually she doesn't get affected by the Sandman originally. So I think Ace is the one to have the first new nightmare, which this time is the dad kind of like insinuating that Ace should be a part of this, like, you know, killing people, helping him out in his whatever the hell kind of crime spree he's committing. I completely skipped over that detail. Everyone else is having more of their own nightmares, and it's starting to realize that these nightmares are becoming very much real, because Ace is beginning to feel like the physical damage that's being done in his body. So Ryan conveniently comes in at the same time to kind of, you know, help out, to check in again, and also is kind of in shock that like this is all happening, and, you know, he wants to help out, but there really isn't much he can do at the moment. But he decides, well, I think Beth realizes that oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, again, another thing I forgot to mention about this episode. Bess does finally reveal to them that she has been training with Tempest to control more of her magic abilities and to also become a woman in white, which the group initially laughs at because, like, again, Temperance, can you trust her? Probably not. You probably cannot trust her to any degree whatsoever. And also, being a modern woman in white is something that the group just laughs off because, like, this is just something, like, you know, weird to do, and I'm not surprised. And, you know, Bess is like, you guys never support my opinions, you never support my ideas. It's like you always go for Nancy's or George or anyone else but me. It's literally like that. And I'm like, and I'm thinking, yeah, she's right. I don't think I've once heard a Bess idea being taken and, you know, run, which makes sense. You have that person in the group, so. So from there, I think, yeah, so they fear, so Bess has this thing about, like, there is a way to kill the Sandman once and for all, but since, I guess, Bess is the only one who can, like, figure out how to do it, she has to go to sleep, get the Sandman to go to her, and then that's her opportunity to kill him, and then, so, she does that, she takes some sleeping pills from Ace, which I don't even know why he has, but, actually, he does have it from Mr. Drew for some reason. Jesus Christ, Mr. Drew is very determined to, like, have a relationship finally. Very determined. I want to say, where do we go? I want to say we hit up. Yeah, so in Bess's nightmare, her new nightmare. She's in the beach and she sees the woman in white circle again. And of course, she wants to join them, but you know, originally in the last dream she couldn't. They wouldn't let her. So this time she really summons this superhuman straight out of nowhere. She pulls the hand out, and I'm just like, damn. I'm like, you really want to be part of the circle. You really do. I'll give you Moxie there. I'll give you Moxie. After some struggle, she actually does manage to defeat the Sandman, which I'm like, okay, that was cool, I guess. I really don't know how like the whole Sandwalker stuff first, because like Ryan's there and he seems to be aware of it, but also they're back in the community center. So I'm not sure, like, were they always in the community center? Like that was the one thing I got confused by. Maybe I didn't pay too much attention to that. So it's over. The curse is over. Everyone's fine. The Sandman's dead. So everything's safe and sound. Everyone's happy. And Nancy does change her tune. It's like, you know what? You're gonna make a good woman in white. I do believe you'll get there someday. Who knows? So I want to say, yeah. So it also conveniently turns to morning time. So Nick does. Ryan's about to give Nick back the keys to the community center, but Ace is like, not Ace. Nick's like, you know what? The kids told me they liked you. They really, really like you. So I want you to work here full time. You come here every day, 9 a.m. You're a peer to them, which I'm like, great. Ryan does. At one point, Ryan was the rich guy. Now Ryan's getting a paycheck from a community center. Character development at its finest. Yeah. So back at the Drew house, Nancy does check back in with Mr. Drew, and they talk. Yeah, Nancy does tell her, if you're dating someone, it's fine. You don't have to hide someone from me. Which again makes completely no sense, since he was dating a totally other woman without Nancy's regard. So it's like it's perfectly fine for Carson to go date. I mean, maybe I'm missing a context point here, but like he was always able to date. It's his judgment, not Nancy's, but whatever the case might be. Just showcasing the trust between them now in this new two dads environment. So Nancy does some thinking around, and she realizes that, like, wait a minute, about the carnival, about the first step, and then the second body, nothing's lining up, since like those are really two different MOs. Because like one is like very quiet, very discreet, in and out, so to speak, and the other one was like very public facing. So she thinks that this is all part of a cult. Like a cult of killers, like Cult of Chucky or something. So she's saying it's a similar killer, but it's two different people. So she has to go out and figure out who the second killer is. But while she's heading out, Ace heads in because Mr. Drew summoned him to help him out with the video footage. And Nancy just immediately makes her leave. While Ace is scrubbing through the footage to kind of like uncensor it, he realizes what he's walking himself into, and the censored image slowly shows him and the twins' dad together, and Mr. Drew's like, "What are you doing working with that guy?" And Ace is like, just the typical answer like everyone does, "I can explain." Will he actually explain? I don't fucking know. We'll find out next week. Was there something? Yeah, Nancy heads over back to the police station to let the DA know, like, yeah, there's something bigger here. There's another killer out there. This is not over yet. And the DA's like, yeah, we know. There was a third body's just been found in front of the diner of the douchebag from earlier this episode in last season. Yeah, it was the owner himself. He has died, and he lost his heart to the frozen heart killer. That's a cliffhanger we leave off for this week's episode properly. So, again, this was not a filler episode, more like a fun side episode. Not really side episode, more like just a fun episode to kind of like, here's this like building the mythology of Horseshoe Bay and its traditions, and there are many, many hauntings, and also progressing forward with the Frozen Heart aspect of this overarching story arc. And I digged it. It was fun to see this imaginary, distractions for them, and also the Ace and Nancy seem like such a big tease, the biggest tease in the world, but sadly we're not quite there yet. Hopefully maybe one day we will, but we'll see how that goes. I will say that I guess Bez did have a little bit more focus this episode, because like she was feeling like kind of like a little bit not underused, more like under listened, and that she wasn't really being taken seriously by the rest of the group, which I'm not surprised in the end, but this is like definitely a good first step for like her independence, and like for her figuring out, you know, what she wants to be, since like she's been disowned by so many people before. So like, what is next for her really? Again, I still don't believe the twins are coming back. If they do come back, I'm like, cool. But I'm like, I really highly doubt it. I just don't know. And it's also weird, like, the twins are here or are gone, but like the dad's like just free to do whatever he wants. I really don't. I can't tell you them. I can't tell you one way or another. I really can't. But yeah, the storyline is moving well in its own pace, and I can't wait to see what next week's episode brings to the table. Hopefully, we get some cool improvements, cool advancements sooner than later. So for me, I'm gonna give this episode 1 3/4 thumbs up. Again, I enjoyed it, but you know, this was your typical episode, but still keeping the consistent quality. So I like it. I like that much. So let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this week's episode of Nancy Drew? I'm always down for conversation down there in the comments below. And I think that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the 3rd season of Nancy Drew. If you want to know what we're doing normally on What's in the Tube, besides our Nancy Drew reviews, we are currently doing the rookie season 4 episode reviews each and every Monday mornings after a brand new episode, on Sunday nights on ABC or on Hulu the next day. We're also doing DC Stargirl season 2 episode reviews each and every Wednesday mornings after a brand new episode, on Tuesday nights on the CW or free the next day on the CW app. We are also doing Doom Patrol season Walker season 2 episode reviews each and every Friday mornings after a brand new episode, on Thursday nights on the CW or free the next day on the CW app. We're also doing Doom Patrol Season 3 episode reviews each and every Saturday mornings after a brand new episode, on Thursdays on HBO Max. And we're doing... and also we have the Chemistry, the 269th episode Spectacular next week. Stay tuned for that. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun. And, and also, that's the thing. Titan Season 3 review at some point soon in the next 2 weeks, so stay tuned for that. But again, if you don't care about Nancy Drew, you're in luck. We'll be back next week with another episode review. Can't wait. It's gonna be fun. I love Nancy Drew because like it's always consistent. Unlike Walker, it's like Nancy Drew, straight run of episodes. I'm like, thank you, Walker. Damn, all over the place. So like, I don't blame anyone. Maybe it's CW, but who knows? But yeah, again, if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX. Please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionX if you want to see more of us. Please ring that bell for notification when our next Nancy Drew review is live, which is normally each and every Sunday mornings. And also, please like, favorite, share this review if you want to, but it helps us get us out there to other members of the Drew crew who have yet to discover us. Helps us beat up the YouTube algorithm that hates me ever so much in life, and as well as sharing us for free here on the interwebs. As well as, finally, follow us on social media to stay up to date with any sort of updates for the channel. But until then, for all you members of the Drew crew, I'll see y'all next week for the next episode review. But until then, stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, enjoy your Halloween.